blessed ones of the nations of the world. Thus is your brother Dan Moses or say Sakodi of TRC Ghana, coming your way with the program Testimony New World Disorder from the land of my exile, America, where I'm being barbarously murdered in secrecy by the US government, supported by the government of Nana Akufo Addo, to cover up heinous crimes against Ghana and humanity. From that land of my exile, America, I come to you with a program, Testimony, New World Disorder, by welcoming you, saying to you, you are welcome. You are welcome. Akwaba, Allen, Sahalen, Shagitam, welcome. Inganjoni, Vindu. One more time, you are welcome. Kuso, Diwo, to San Yusenyo, Okukulaba, Mauya, Mingalaba, Boye, Malamu, Karibu, Ekabo, no, O Sanu de Zua, Kwang de Hena, Mitash, Dubro, Pezalovat, Bine I Vinit, Barigalus, Vita Iche, Ayubon, Dobritoya, Velkommen, Estan, Hozut, Walang Anuman, Bienvenue, Bienvenido, Namaste, Swagetam, Kush, Amadid, Baruch, Haba, Marhaba, Wanyong Haminida, Wanying, Nyejeko, Anime, Nyejeko, We Zolo Novio, Mia Wezo, Akwaba to the program, Testimony New World Disorder, which is a program through which you get to know what is happening to Ghana, America, humanity, and the nations of the world in these times of global deception, delusion, and lies that are willfully made up by some of the very people that we trust to be there for humanity and the nations of the world, and yet have chosen to be the very people that are dealing with us by deception, delusion, and lies, having brought our world into this global helplessness. However, we are most grateful to God that by this same program, we as well get to receive some divine guide, divine direction, divine insight that we may know exactly what to do in these times of global wickedness. So we are welcome to the program Testimony, New World Disorder, Humanity and the Nations of the World. We are continuing from Ghana, where we are getting more insight to give us the foundation of understanding what is happening to us, that we know that it is not just fellow human beings have gone beyond the destruction of the innocent life on the nations of the world, but that all that is happening to us as members of human race is the pursuit of what the Bible calls Jacob's trouble, which fellow human beings in America with their cliques, in Ghana and of the nations, some of the nations of the world, decided to visit the Jacob's trouble. Man-made, they make it, seeking to drive us into what the Bible calls the Armageddon. And they are not content with the destruction of the life of the innocent on the nations of the world. This time it is the coming after your soul, my soul, and the souls of the people of the nations of the world. That is what they are doing. And the winds thereof that is blowing, whether the lockdown or whatever we are facing, is just an iota of it. So we need to understand and get prepared. And even as the soul takers come after our soul, we hold firm to the God that created our souls, who is able to preserve our soul from the destroyers of life that come after our souls. Humanity and the nations are cooperative to the program Testimony New World Disorder. We want to begin by first congratulating the heads of the nations of the world that are gathering at the United Nations 75th General Assembly going on this September as an annual thing. Want to congratulate them for dedicating their life on the behalf of humanity together to take thoughts of humanity and the nations of the world as to where our welfare. So humanity, we want to strengthen the United Nations and the heads of the nations of the world to carry on with the good work on the behalf of humanity, though the times are really terrible and dangerous, we cannot give up. It is written, we must occupy till the Lord that has said we should occupy comes. So must keep on pressing on behalf of humanity and the nations of the world. Plus, once even I would want to say that in 2018, 2019, as a result of the total terror unleashed on me by the U.S. government, the government of the government of Donald Trump and Nana Addo Akufo when I was in Ghana, I wasn't able to make my usual annual contribution to the UN General Assembly meeting as I do through the Office of the UN Secretary General. But however, this year I want the United Nations to know that my contribution is coming, irrespective of being totally terrorized by the Montgomery County Police and the 7/11 terrorists to seek to eliminate me from life against national and international law. The Africans shall be strong in the Lord and the power of His might, and continue serving humanity and the nations. So, United Nations, my contribution on the behalf of humanity shall come, even as the heads of the nations of the world have gathered on the behalf of humanity. Blessed ones of the nations, forward to the program Testimony New World. Disorder. Dignified ones of the nations of the world. Yeah, this week we had seen an announcement on this media Testimony New World Disorder, hinting us as to the total criminality by the Montgomery County Police, the FBI, the new terrorists who are still seeking to trouble humanity even worse than they have done. Blessed ones, we want to announce to the Montgomery County Police that we are not getting distracted. They want to shift our focus from the 7/11 terrorists and their heinous crimes against Ghana and humanity. They want to shift our focus from the new terrorists. They want to shift our focus from exposing what is happening to humanity. We are staying focused. We shall continue to let the world know what is happening to humanity and the nations of the world. We have started from Ghana, laying the foundation that we get a better understanding. For Ghana and America are the focal point as to what is going on in the world now. Ever since the US government planted this US undercover agent in church for the pursuit of diabolical agenda, which has resulted in the secret killing of innocent Ghanaians by the US government, which has put intelligent technology and money behind the new terrorists to be killing innocent Ghanaians in secrecy, politicians, religious leaders, diplomats, young and old, which thing has been so troubling to the entire human nations of the world, and not the United Nations, not the International Criminal Court, not legitimate international authorities can openly stand against this total wickedness being perpetrated by America and cliques of Nana Akufo for years. The consequences are falling on the whole of humanity as we see now, and it is time for the world to arise. All Americans that believe in their nation and their values to stand even as the United Nations General Assembly is going on. One thing that we want to let the American people stand with humanity, the heads of the nations of the world, the United Nations, to make it clear to the US government that the most dangerous threat that the world is facing now is not any terrorism that we know of, the conventional terrorism that we know of. It is not the global pandemic. It is the willful murdering of an African in the 21st century against the US Constitution and international law by the US government, supported by the government of Nana Addo Akufo, just to cover up heinous crimes against Ghana and humanity. that is creating and has created the most dangerous threat. And the entire heads of the nations of the world, even as the United Nations General Assembly is going on, all Americans that believe in their nation and their values must stand with the humanity and the nations of stand with the United Nations to speak to the US government to stop endangering their nation, stop endangering global peace, security, and stability with the willful intent of murdering an African Ghanaian to cover up crimes against humanity. And that the African must be returned to his homeland where he belongs. He's an African. Nana Akufo and his administration should never be made to get away with their responsibility of removing the African, evacuating him, the Ghanaian, to his blessed homeland um, because they are endangering global peace, security, and stability. Thus, we want the heads of the nations world together the courage to demand um, a stop to this heinous violation of national international law by the US government, supported by the government of Nana Akufo. The African must be back to his homeland. All men are created equal. We cannot allow them to endanger global peace, security, and stability further than they have done. God bless you. Blessed ones of the nations of the world. Now let's go to Ghana. Humanity and the nations of the world. We need to dwell in Ghana and get a clearer understanding. Um, we must understand that when it comes to the agenda to um, tear down His Excellency Dr. Busumuru Kofi Annan, um, it it was a long-term agenda. We remember somebody that would like always to refer to history and fruitful events that happened in our world. Remember in 2007, just before the term of office of His Excellency Dr. Busumuru came to an end, evil men have sought to tear down Kofi and all the good works on the behalf of his good works on behalf of the United Nations and humanity by trying to smear his name with the oil for food program, trying to tie it to his son and seek to get him to resign as the UN Secretary General by when the media attacked him, asking him whether he would resign as a result of the scandal that he tried to smear him and his son. He looked into the camera and told them, hell no. Once in a while, the lamb has to prove that there is a lion side to the lamb, and he did. Humanity and the nations of the world. The agenda to tear down His Excellency Dr. Busumuru Kofi Annan was a long time agenda that is found in this US undercover agent. Blessed ones of the nations of the world. Like I've told us, in every nation that has been torn down by war, whether Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, whichever, Pakistan, wherever, it's they seek. I mean, whether Sudan, or every nation that you can think about, whether through civil war, whatever, the nation wreckers would uh, um, turn members of their would go either on tribal lines or ethnic lines, turn them against each other. We are on Ghana and we need to understand this. In order for the global evil workers in America to use this undercover agent to succeed in tearing down Ghana completely, they must go after Ghana on tribal lines. Remember, I've told us about Akufo, I've told us about the Ashanti Kingdom. I've given us just an idea that we understand why so much hatred by Nana Akufo and his cliques against me, standing with the global network of criminals to get me murdered and having done that to the shedding of the blood of innocent Ghanaians, all in the interest of this undercover agent. Humanity and the nations of the world, we must know this, that from the very onset of the setup marriage, we have skipped. We will get back to the setup marriage, but we want to understand something regarding His Excellency Dr. Busunu Kofi Annan and what kind of loss that we lost him. Humanity, one agenda of this U.S. undercover agent was to for the global cliques to use him to tear down the nation Ghana, just like they've done to many nations of the world, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan. And before to succeed in doing that, they would have to go after the Ashanti Kingdom, tear down the Ashanti-Man, which historically they have known, the world has known, America has known to be a warrior kingdom. And what the U.S. undercover agent did was right after her cover got blown, after the setup marriage, when the cover got blown in 2007, she had infiltrated with the CIA, infiltrated the nation Ghana, had gone as far with her, including her family, her auntie by name, auntie who is a CIA operative by name Babette of Brooklyn, New York. While they were holding me captive, getting me tortured, they had to infiltrate the nation Ghana to go as far as infiltrating the palace of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu the Second, my king, to go scale, to go size Otumfuo's palace, to go spy and to study and to know how they can come after Otumfuo if they succeed in cutting him off, taking his life, how much devastating it shall be to Ghana, and the confusion and chaos it shall cause in the nation, being that there is a tribal, told us there's a tribal link to this. So they infiltrated the Otumfuo's His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Tutu's palace in 2007, a CIA operative involving the family member of this undercover agent. Their agenda was to, between 2007 and 2008, if they cannot get their will in the 2008 national elections, and they have to make Ghana to another Afghanistan, another Pakistan, they will have to do it. But in the first place, they have to be able to tear down the Ashanti Kingdom. They have to take out the Otumfuo Osei Tutu. I had to, on the behalf of Ghana and humanity, expose that agenda to international authorities. The undercover agent was so much poised to tear my nation down to the point of deciding to reward a family member that went with the CIA to go spy the Otumfuo's palace, to reward her, that family member of her by name Babette, to get my firstborn daughter Elizabeth named after that evil-minded CIA operative of Brooklyn called Babette. And I had to resist and refuse for my daughter to be named after a criminal. So I had to name my daughter Elizabeth after the mother of John the Baptist. And after a noble name of Her Royal Majesty the Queen, Humanity, to let the undercover agents know that her daughter is a dignified one, and she's not as a criminal as she is. She's not a nation wrecker. So, humanity and the nation. So Ghana must get it clear. The intent to get Ghana as any of the war-torn nations of the world has always been on the table, and it has continued to be worked at. The elimination and the taking out of His Excellency Dr. Busumu Kofi Annan from life. When I went to Ghana and I was exposing heinous crimes, and the only thing that they could do to divert attention was to give that devastating blow to Ghana. What Ghana and the world don't know is it was not to end at His Excellency Dr. Busumu Kofi Annan. The agenda to have torn down, to have taken out His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu as far back as 2007 has always been in play. The next after Kofi Annan had been taken out was His Excellency His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. That is why on the 18th of August 2018, when the world has been told Dr. Busumu Kofi Annan is no more, he's dead, his life has ended in Bern, Switzerland. On that same day, I had to leave Tema, make a 4-hour journey from the Greater Accra region swiftly to the Ashanti region, and the next day, the 19th of August, the next day after Kofi Annan had been taken out, I had to get my own brother, whom Samuel Sarkodie, whom the global wicked forces, the force of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, have manipulated, taking his mind to trouble my precious family, to trouble my precious life in the interest of this US undercover agent. I go get that guy and take him from Kumasi, from his home, to Otumfuo's palace. Ghana and the nations of the world, on the behalf of the Ashanti Kingdom, on the behalf of Menshia, on the behalf of humanity and the nations of the world, I had to make that trip on the behalf of God. Not that I held any power to redeem, to save the life of Otumfuo Osei Tutu, but God sent me on a mission, knowing that he was the next in line to be taken. I had to go there with my brother. He was very much unwilling when we got to the premises of the palace. The surveillance cameras of Menshia on the 19th of August 2018 can prove that I was there. I was there. My brother even didn't want us to go into the palace. I had to press my way, go speak to the security personnel. Am I permitted to get in there? Say, yes, you are permitted. I had to tell my brother, you can't stop at this gate. We must go in there. And I went in there. Probably, perhaps somebody might think that he went to see some prayers. Now, God made me to carry out a psychological mission. I knew the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo were tracking me. I knew the CIA were tracking me. I knew the FBI, whose mandate is limited to their state, but in violation of their constitution, must hate me and pursue me in my land of Ghana They were all tracking me. The new terrorists were tracking me. I had to take them to Otunfo's palace. I had to go there knowing they are all tracking me. That they understand that God was watching them. They are evil against Kofi Annan on the 18th. They dare not extend it to His Royal Majesty Akufo Osei Tutu. I had to be there, knowing that they know I have been there. It was to taunt them by God on their mind, to ask themselves that what do I know in regarding their agenda to seek to eliminate Otumfo Osei Tutu. And that one alone was enough to taunt them up to this very day. And as I speak, His Royal Majesty Otumfo Osei Tutu is alive and shall continue to live, and the Ashanti Kingdom shall continue to live. Ghana shall continue to live. Achim, the land of Achim shall continue to live. The nations, the regions, and ethnic groups of Ghana shall continue to live. Humanity and the nations of the world. As I speak today, because His Royal Majesty Otumfo Osei Tutu is alive, we might not see, might not appreciate the importance of that courageous step that God used me to take on His behalf, on the behalf of Ashanti Kingdom, on the behalf of Ghana and humanity, for the sake of His life. But we know that if He were not alive, as I speak, then we might have seen the reality of what I was, the reality of what God sent me there for. As I speak, His Excellency Dr. Busumuru Kofi Annan is not alive. So we know that it is no joke, it is no dream. Yes, humanity and the nations of the world, there is no game, there is no joke as to what is happening to the world. On my way to Otunfo Osei Tutu, His Royal Majesty's home, Menchia Palace, I had to strategically send a message to an individual whom the global cliques were manipulating as a result of their hatred for me and her so much aligning that she seemed to have been to Kofi Annan, His Excellency Kofi Annan, for that short moment that I went to Ghana. We shall get there, we shall get to know that. But I wanted us to know that I had to take some intelligence and prudent measures. Sent Kofi Annan's life, he was taken out of the world on the day of that, the birthday of that individual. 18th of August was that individual's birthday. That individual that was being manipulated by the global states and the government of Nana Akufo, which eventually led to the loss of his life. Kofi Annan's life was cut short on that birthday of that individual. So when I was leaving for Menchia Palace, I made sure I've sent that individual a message, a WhatsApp message. I got to Menchia Palace on the 19th. I made sure that right at the palace, I've taken some pictures, sent that individual some of those pictures. Humanity and the nations of the world, the steps that God used me to take, unless God made me to expound to us, you will not understand. You will see that one of the pictures that I sent to that individual, I stood by the lion which is at the gate, the statue of lion at the gate of Otunfo's palace. And I took a picture and I sent that individual, that lion. There was some actions that I was taking, not on my behalf. I knew that the CIA, they all were watching me. They have access to all the information that I was transmitting through my phone. And I had to do that just to let them know that they better be very careful, for the guy is saying something which must be looked into as to what he knows. So, humanity and the nations of the world, I want us to understand that in many churches around the globe, even in the pastoral board, there can be cliques. In many synagogues, in many um, mosques, there are authorities. There can be cliques. There can be favorites. You understand? There can be people that go together in academic institution, politicians, in members of the same government, whether it is NDC or NPP or Republican Party or Democratic Party, the same members of the same institution of the same group. You can see that there are some that click more than the others. This happens everywhere. It happens in church. It happens in mosque. It happens in synagogue. It happens in educational sector. It happens in court. It happens in the judicial system. It happens in the executive. It happens in the legislature. You understand? So we should not be surprised that the former UN Secretary General had his cliques that